It is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Well,
Good day to you.
Hudson's filling in. I think I did let everybody know you were coming, though. So if you're caught up enough on podcasts, Hudson's filling in for Obi for the podcast today, tomorrow, and on Thursday's edition.
Yes. So we're going to have some fun together for the next few days. And we definitely had a good time in the Did we have a good time, or were we a little angry?
I think we were a little grumpy a couple of times, but I can't remember if we were grumpy on air or just in the studio because of other, like, grumpy stories.
Yeah.
But I felt there were a few times where...
No, we got upset because, one, you had your ghost kitchen situation, and that eventually made both of us mad.
And you were then mad than I was.
I was mad on your behalf, and just mad for anybody that gets duped by that. So that's in the show.
About dinner last night involved another revelation of a ghost virtual kitchen that just ends up being a national chain.
Right.
And you're just buying into it and you're paying more money for their product because they slap some new sauce on it. Look at it. I'm getting mad again.
Different sauce, different logo, different pictures. And all of a sudden it makes it a different restaurant.
All right. Just save it for the podcast. It'll be coming up soon.
It's in the show. And then I got mad. Or expressed my anger about the Oscars.
You did. You really did.
Yeah, but I felt like it was a righteous anger because it's just something I care about and I don't want to see it ruined. Go down the road. It's gone.
So basically, those are our two most passionate times this morning, and it does involve our anger, but I think we rally with other stories, so it won't be all negative. It does,
and there's probably some positives in here. There's there might be a cure for COVID. There might be a cure for COVID.
We talk about a one pill that would be given if you show signs of COVID.
And actually, we've got new coffee cups that we're kind of happy about.
Oh, and wait till you hear what happens to the coffee cups.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to enjoy it. And near the beginning of the podcast, we have cicada cooking recipes.
You're right.
So
we do
got to
have
look on the bright
stuff.
side with that.
Okay. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast today. Hudson, thanks for filling in.
Of course.
And don't forget to text and say hello if there's something you want us to cover in the podcast for tomorrow. You just text 877 to RadioU and put podcast so we know to see it the next day.
Sounds good.
Have a great day.
See you next time.
Bye.
What's worse than the worst of the Riot? The worst of the Riot podcast. Yeah. You did this to yourself. Podcast. Riot. RadioU.
So they actually had a box office, they're saying, like, battle this past weekend.
Yeah.
And we talked a bit about it yesterday for those that watched Mortal Kombat. So I didn't know if you had a chance to watch it and what your thoughts were.
No, it's on my list, and I know...
Not a high priority.
Not as high a priority, yeah. I'm already trying to... I've got other stuff that I feel like I have. It's not even that I want to watch it as much. It's just things on the list of to-do so that you're caught up.
Listen.
And Mortal Kombat is on that list.
We don't want to burden you. So if you haven't watched it, you don't need to. And you don't have to by your time filling in for Obi this week.
Yeah.
It's not the worst. It's better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's not the best. It's not the greatest, but it's not as bad as I went into it thinking.
Yeah, because I've heard that I've heard generally good things, but I also know that there's not a very strong track record of video games turning into movies that really are great.
And I think you saying good things is maybe a little strong again. If you make sure that you just back down your expectations, it won't be so bad.
Yeah, I'm not going to be impressed like Godzilla versus Kong impressed.
No, that was way better. Way better.
Well,
but
now I know where to set my sights.
For this, again, not as bad as people assumed it would be. But for Mortal Kombat, the box office results, I didn't see them until later yesterday. I was kind of surprised I didn't get them earlier in the day. But Mortal Kombat earned $22.5 million for the North American box office.
Well, that seems pretty decent.
It's not bad.
Given the givens.
So the international total for it was $27.6 million. So it's actually a pretty good haul considering since it cost them $55 million to make it.
So they're definitely going to get their They've gotten their money back.
I think the 55 includes a lot of advertisements. So it's a lot of advertising money in there.
It was definitely out there.
But they were saying it was really the first box office battle during the entire pandemic.
Yeah.
Because you also had Demon Slayer. And you're like, what's that?
Wow, what a week, huh?
So you have really two quality standout movies.
Yeah.
But
family friendly, too.
I know, right?
Yeah.
They sound so nice.
They're trying to get everybody back.
It is. It's just that type of weekend. But Demon Slayer is a very well-known anime franchise, isn't it? But I don't know much about it. But I do know it's like the number one movie in Japan of all time.
Okay.
So it's made $350 million just in Japan.
Oh, wow.
So it's very well known there, just not as much here. It made $19.5 million.
Oh, man.
So Demon Slayer almost made as much as Mortal Kombat.
$19 million for Demon Slayer in this day and age feels like a lot. So good for you, Demon Slayer.
It's actually a lot of money for its type of movie because it's dubbed. It has subtitles. So it doesn't normally make as much for our box office here when it's done that way, but it's a continuation of the Demon Slayer TV series.
Okay, good.
And that's a manga series.
It's good that they continued that.
It is,
There was so much left of the story for them to explore, and you just didn't want it to be cut off.
So I know now you have two
that's right.
movies. Are you going to watch?
Which streaming service do I have to pay for to get Demon Slayer?
So that's about it. It was just saying how, they actually had two not high-profile movies, but
noteworthy.
I don't even know if that works. Just two movies that people were willing to go see. Two movies out there, and they were on the same weekend. So they said that box office results were good enough that it was hey, kind of more back to normal.
Yeah, we're getting there, and I'm glad now knowing that there was this battle that Mortal Kombat won. That would actually be sad. That would be a bad sign. That's right.
That was it. So that was the box office from the weekend. Some other bigger releases are coming out in the next couple of weeks. You have A Quiet Place 2.
Oh, yeah.
Cruella. There's a few others. So it looks like, hey, there might be a few more movies.
Might be time to go back to the old theater soon.
Yes. Now, they don't say any details for Mortal Kombat on how much does it make for HBO Max, streaming service-wise.
Yeah, right.
They don't give those details. This was just movie theater box office results.
I don't know if as many people would have subscribed just to see Mortal Kombat, but I have seen the, talking about following up Mortal Kombat. So that tells you that it's doing enough to where they're thinking about making more because they think they'll make more money with it. So good for them.
It doesn't cost too much, and it made them enough.
This is RadioU's Worst of the Riot.
Nikki, you know what's coming.
It's coming, and I was
Anytime
hungry.
now.
I was hungry until I saw all this.
Oh, well, Cicada Palooza.
Cicada season.
Yeah, it's this year,
Yay.
and it's coming any day now for a lot of I think it's the east, the eastern U.S., if you're even east of the Mississippi, more east than that, there's just going to be cicadas everywhere for a lot of people.
So it should be in a few weeks, and then it lasts, is it 4 to 6 weeks that they last alive or around
maybe
that?
a month. I don't know.
It depends on if you can kill them when they're out or if you just stay inside. But it also depends on your area. This is more focused on Maryland, which they say is a really bad spot for cicadas.
Yeah, and I was in Maryland the last time the cicadas were around, and I was pretty young at the time, but I remember them just being everywhere.
Yeah.
And I guess I was at that right age where cicadas have always occupied a big space in
your memories,
in my mind as I've grown older. That just the fascination with them, because it's such a weird thing that normal bugs don't live very long, and cicadas live underground for 17 years or whatever.
We were really curious, are they alive underground? Are they kind of in a state? Or are they growing underground? Or how does that work? Because they come out every 17 years.
Yeah.
And so then I kept thinking, do you remember that War of the Worlds movie?
Yeah.
With Tom Cruise where the things were underground and then they just come out and they were there the whole time.
Oh, no.
That's what they think with these bugs. I'm they've been there the whole time, but are they alive underground for 17 years?
Right.
Or I don't know how that works.
Are they in the eggs? Are they in like a larva form?
I don't think I want to know. I don't think I can understand or figure it out, but they are coming and they'll be there for a bit.
What you need to do is make the most of it. Think about all of and other animals know this. This is a time, I don't know if they know, if the birds are like planning, like this is the year we feast.
Oh, they know. Yeah. Wow, I wonder.
Yeah, but you can eat cicadas. And again, I was pretty young at the time, but I remember people, there was definitely other kids.
Did you eat them?
No. Oh, no.
And this isn't like boys will be boys and little kids will just eat anything. This is especially, again, around, Maryland and stuff. Like they've got cookbooks. They got everything. The University
of Maryland actually came up. That's a school that they put out, I'm sure, lawyers, scientists. I know someone who went there, like psychology majors. And this school put out a cookbook.
They did.
For what to do with cicadas. And this was the last time cicadas were around. And, probably that book hasn't been selling very well for the last 17 years, but this year,
they're ready.
Got to have a lot in print and get it on Amazon, and
there's
you're
one
good to
called.
go.
I think it's a PDF. Like I think it's just emailed to you. I don't think it's in print. It's called Cicadalicious. They say that they're delicious to eat and they'll be in such abundance. Ugh. I don't know if you can freeze these guys or like what do you do, but
right. Because, imagine like you do start eating the cicadas and you're like, this is pretty good, but then they're gone for 17 years.
You're gonna have to try to collect as many as you can.
Yeah.
They say you can eat adults and like the little cicadas. They say that you should take the wings and legs off so that they don't get stuck in your teeth.
There's no meat on the wings anyway.
They say you want to wash them. You can blanch them and put them in your recipes.
Okay.
And this guy says he doesn't understand why people find them disgusting. Well
to be fair, you do hear more and more. I feel that like the grasshoppers, like the grasshopper and cricket, like nachos, they have at baseball games if you go to certain stadiums and whatever. So these are just like that,
They'll be there.
Like what's the real difference?
Well, I think there is. I wouldn't want to eat a lot of that stuff. But for cicadas,
neither would I. But
they say that the key is you're supposed to take the wings and stuff off and then chop them up so you don't see what you're eating.
Yeah.
And then put it in a sauce. Or put it in a cookie.
Once I start having to think I don't want to see what I'm eating, then I just don't want to eat it.
Then you're fine.
I don't eat.
Is your family still in Maryland?
Yeah.
So then they're really ready. Would your mom eat?
Oh, no.
She wouldn't? Okay.
She wouldn't do that.
Are you sure? Do you need to talk to her about it before they come?
I feel like I might have... Because
you were young when they were first there.
My brothers might do it.
They might?
Yeah. You get around a bonfire. There's not a lot going on in Maryland, so cheap entertainment.
Just throw them in the fire. They'll be like, it's like popcorn.
Yeah, right. They probably do.
So you have a few weeks. More areas will see them, but they'll be practically everywhere.
So a few weeks to get your hands on this cookbook.
Well, and to get your recipes ready and your ingredients
and stuff. Make sure you have the other ingredients. Yeah, you don't want to be caught unprepared.
They say the cicadas, since it's been 17 years since they've been here, they will last like 4 to 6 weeks. So they'll be here for a bit.
Looking forward to it.
The Riot really wanted to do this live, but now they can play video games and eat rice cakes instead. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
I've got my coffee here, and
you got a baby
look,
coffee
we got
cup.
a cute little coffee. It even says coffee on it.
We got new coffee, like the disposable ones.
Yeah,
we got new coffee cups, and they're so cute and small.
We still have a few of the old coffee. Do you hear that?
Is that the lid?
That's the lid.
Oh my gosh,
wow.
it's like it's creaky.
I feel like I'm providing Foley for a door opening somewhere.
It's like, is your body old or what's creaking over there? Is it haunted?
I was just watching, this is the most Obi moment we're ever going to have. I was just watching an old Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the first ones where they keep having the guy go to the moon. I can't remember what it's called, but the door sound effect is literally this sound.
The creaking?
And they do it all the time.
Well,
somebody out there knows that.
Now we have it here in our break room in our studio.
Yeah, but these are they're so cute though.
The other ones were bigger, but we ran out of like the coffee lids. And I think
that's actually why I went with this one, because we do have some of the old ones still.
We need a lid. Some of us drink the whole cup of coffee. Other of us just make a whole cup of coffee like in the cup, but don't drink it all.
Of course.
So I don't know, is this a subtle thing of like, can we just actually drink what we take, and we're just not taking as much if we don't want to enjoy it?
What's worse, taking the coffee, putting it in a cup, and then not drinking it, or just leaving it in the in the
coffee pot.
Yeah,
that's a good call.
Because we do both.
Well, I feel bad because I am the wasteful one. I make a big cup and I put a lot of creamer in it, and then I just don't drink it all.
But you never know. But the problem is, if you're going to use these cups now, you have to change your ratio. You have to change how much cream. You have to really be conscious of that, or you're gonna. But you drink so much cream anyways, it'll be fine.
It's practically creamer.
You're gonna have to change your ratio of how much coffee you put in. Make sure you don't accidentally put too much.
I don't even need coffee some days. I'm just having all creamer.
Just
so
get
this is a cute cup for
coffee mates, and you're fine.
I'm just more concerned if there's a few people here that do drink a lot of coffee. Yeah. Are they going to be sad because now they also have to have a smaller coffee cup, or are we just going to be okay with it?
I feel like it actually could be a good thing.
They're cute.
They're cute.
They're creaky,
so I like them. I like the design. Yeah, let's just keep doing. It's.
I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Yeah,
it's so
I don't know if it comes through as much, but.
It's just a little creaky.
Yeah, but
is someone coming in the studio?
That's right.
Oh no,
we need to get the WD-40 for the door.
It's Hudson's coffee lid.
it's just us and the coffee lid.
All right. Well, putting that noise there, like, just decide if you want that part open or closed. And just leave it alone.
I don't want to have it bleeding through.
So we're thankful.
Messing up the audio.
Listen, we're thankful and we're grateful for the new coffee cups.
I think it could be good. I think maybe it controls your intake a little bit, so you realize how much you're drinking, and if not, it just gives you another excuse to take a break from working.
Yeah, you can go back and get a fresh cup.
Right. Yes, keep it hot, fresh. It works.
You almost missed hearing this one. We just couldn't let that happen. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
This is it. This is my time to shine.
This is your time because Hudson's filling in for Obi. I think it's really, truly because you're the only one I know who watches the Oscars.
Really? The only one?
Does. And the numbers reflect some of that.
9.85 million of us. Thank you very much.
Is that worldwide then?
It doesn't say. I'm assuming that's United States.
So the 93rd Academy Awards, the Oscars, were on Sunday night, and everybody wanted to know how would they evolve as an award show?
Yeah, the other, I don't know about the Grammy, but the Golden Globes are the other big movie awards, and they were not good. Yeah. Not good as award shows go.
Well, I mean, not only were they not good to watch, but also the numbers of people watching were so bad.
That's right. And if you did try to watch it, it was tough. It was not, they did not cope well with the everybody doing it from home situation, but that was a lot earlier. Things have kind of progressed to where the Oscars at least were able to do most of it in person with everybody in the same room.
Did you watch it?
I watched the whole thing.
And?
It was pretty bad.
It was bad, yeah.
It was bad. And
you'd be more forgiving.
Yeah. Well, and maybe it's because I watch every year to where I know what normally to expect and what normally is good. And this year it was rough.
Well, I didn't know that the Oscars used to get like some major numbers.
Yeah, so even still 9.85 million people.
No.
That's one of the, if you any college football game almost is beat by that.
Well, for this,
it's still a big deal.
This shows like in 2014 they would get over 43 million people watching.
Yeah, that's a big
spread between that. So let's see, they had over 23 million last year watched.
Yeah.
So they had a 58% drop to this year's Oscars, which had 9.85 million people tuned in.
That is bad. And I'll tell you, I think it's a two-part thing. I know there's a lot of people that will say, and this story seems to say that like it's because of the politics in it. I watched the whole thing. There was a few moments where it was a little political, but those were generally like people that won like super small, like, sorry to diminish, but like
the short, like
literally won like the award for best short documentary or something. It's still an Oscar, but like how much are you going to criticize that person for their speech?
I don't think it's that.
They're probably used to like this is their big moment,
and they've been waiting.
Yeah,
they've been waiting for all
to champion their cause,
their inputs to come. I think it's not just like there's been a lack of good movies. There's just been a lack of movies. That's the biggest thing. We're not as interested in movies because we've gone a whole year where all they give us are, movies that wouldn't even be considered for Oscars.
Unless you're into the Oscar type movie, there wasn't a movie like, just the mainstream appeal movie that was really in the running this year.
Yeah.
Like even Soul was probably like the biggest one. And that was like that was getting any awards, and that was free, and it's not like that was so exciting to people, I don't think, even though it was a good movie.
I know.
So there wasn't the movies to draw it in, and then, but the real problem is, to me, the presentation, because I think a lot of the people that normally tune into the Oscars, because they like that type of thing, watch the show, and they're like, this is horrible.
It just wasn't the same.
It wasn't, even though, and what I don't understand is, you could give them some slack if it was bad because of the virus. Mm-hmm. But they had everybody, like they could have had a host. They chose not to. They had almost everybody in the station in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But the problem was, instead of showing like clips of the movies, which they always would normally do, like that you show, this is Soul nominated for the best music, and then they play some of the music.
Well, that's what you would think they would do.
There was no song performances for the best song, and then they had no clips of the movies.
Why wouldn't they have clips for the movies?
I know, right? Why would that not be it's not a COVID thing, right? That's like your opportunity to play the trailer for these Oscar movies 80 times in a night, and they didn't do it.
They didn't do it,
and instead it was replaced with like the cavalcade of different hosts they had coming through, doing like little trivia about, again, these people that what were nominated for very minor awards. These people got their start in makeup and hairstyling by make-upping their self in the mirror. And it's like, wow, what a fun fact.
Hudson hated it. I can really feel it.
I was so upset, but that's because I normally like it so much.
Second, I think that's what people didn't like is just the, it's all about them.
Yeah.
Like it is all about them.
Right.
And it still remains a 3-hour long event.
Yeah, and
you could have cut it
very
down.
long. It is very long. And I like it normally because it feels like a celebration of movies. And this time it just felt like it was almost just like a corporate, like a corporate retreat type thing.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
And normally when Hudson's filling in, we talk a lot of food talk, but so far this morning, this is our second bug story.
It's bug talk,
So I don't know why we're going with this, but it's actually an interesting article. It talks about everyone in the Florida Keys is pretty upset right now because...
As upset as anybody in the Florida Keys could be.
I think you'd actually be pretty mellow there.
Yeah, just go with the flow. You live in the Keys. Have you been down there?
I have.
How could you not just... take it easy?
But you wouldn't really like this. I assume. And they say that it's how they started off and, they kind of went door to door and they had like their bug commission sort of thing.
Okay.
Go to get permission, and people didn't really realize what they were signing and allowing to happen in their area. But this is a thing, the Florida Keys Mosquito Control District and a biotech company based, a British one, they're doing their first ever U.S. release of genetically engineered mosquitoes, and those mosquitoes will start with smaller amounts and get up to over 1 billion of them throughout a 2-year period.
When you put it that way, you do kind of understand because like the good news is the reason they're doing this is there's mosquitoes in the area that can carry Zika virus and stuff like that, which is very terrible. So
Yellow fever, things like that.
They want to get rid of that.
But now they're releasing these, which, so say you have a mommy mosquito and a daddy mosquito, and they love each other very much, okay? And they've been, they're committed to having baby mosquitoes, and they're fine with it, and then that just happens.
Yeah.
Well, this would then mean that the female mosquitoes from that would be engineered to die.
Right.
So they just would not carry on.
There's not going to be a continued family tree after that point because of what they're doing to these mosquitoes, which that almost sounds pretty cruel. But it's mosquitoes, so how bad can you really feel?
Well, they're just kind of afraid like what all this will do. They say that the residents in the Florida Keys are kind of mad because they consider them to be in a live experiment.
Right.
They don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They don't know if you get bit by one of these mosquitoes, what will happen to you.
Maybe you'll have the same problem.
Yeah,
I hope not.
There's not enough research with it, but that doesn't matter because they're still releasing them, they said.
It does feel like the type of thing that would be the beginning of a bad movie.
Yeah, actually, that's a good way to put it.
We're doing this as a positive for the environment because we need to save everybody from this disease. And then who knows what could go wrong with it.
I guess we'll have to keep an eye on it.
Just the also point of having 1 billion extra mosquitoes in your area feels like the mosquitoes are still going to bite.
Well, you'll only get 150,000, a little less of the genetically modified mosquitoes, genetically enhanced.
Okay.
And that'll be around the next 12 weeks. And then up to 1 billion will be released throughout the up to 2-year portion of it.
Yeah.
And then they want to see what happens.
Yeah,
that's it.
What I like to hear. Well, we're just going to release all these mosquitoes and we'll see what happens.
I mean, do the cicadas go down to Florida? Like, are they coming out there? What if they come out and then would they eat the mosquitoes? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they would interact at all. But what if, I don't know. You do feel like what if the mosquito issue could become where other animals are having the issue? Like it's
you get a bigger problem.
Because it says this protein that's it's transferring from the mosquitoes. What if they transfer to something else?
The riot isn't all bad, but this is the worst of the riot. Radio U.
Good morning, Trevor. We were talking about in the Keys, they're releasing genetically enhanced, modified mosquitoes that will hopefully control and decrease the mosquito population.
Yeah.
And residents are kind of mad about it. And Trevor said, genetically engineered mosquitoes sounds like the start of a zombie apocalypse.
It sure does.
We don't need anything else.
No,
we don't need something.
We have enough issues that we already have to deal with.
And then Justin, thanks for texting. The next Marvel superhero will be based off of this mosquito incident. And
will it be the hero or the villain?
Oh, yeah.
I guess it depends. If it's like maybe it's a resident of the Keys, and they're fed up with the government getting in on their life, and now the government is releasing the mosquitoes, and then so they're like, I'll show them, and they get like bitten by the mosquito, or they engineer their own mosquito powers.
Wait,
and this is
Wait, someone's typing this all out. They want your whole thing right there.
That's right. I want a cut of that if you make that into a film.
You guys heard it. This was Hudson's thing.
It's my idea.
I think it could be like maybe brothers, and then one went bad, and one went good, and they're all in Florida, so they're all older.
And it's the Keys, so they got
very
bit
relaxed.
at the nudist convention thing. I was thinking the one time I went to the Keys, Key West was very nice, but driving from like the tip of Florida through the Keys,
in between,
there was like all this. We happened at a state park there upon like a hippie convention.
You did?
Yeah,
and it was nudists?
Nudists, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it just happened to be the weekend. And then I thought, I think, did it happen to be the weekend, or is that a lot of weekends?
Oh, yeah, maybe it's every weekend. I drove from the top to Key West, and I don't recall seeing that.
But you just didn't stop at the right state park?
I was car sick a lot, so maybe I just wasn't looking out the window as much as I should have.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay, well... Thanks, Key West, and all those places.
The world needs a nudist superhero. So
it's really awful too when like you're young, so like it's young Hudson, and then your parents are like, "Don't look out the window."
Yeah,
and they're mad because they happen to pick that weekend. And you're like, "What's wrong?" Listen, nudist stuff isn't always. It's not exactly what you think it is.
and it's when it's unexpected.
Yeah,
when
it's shocking.
You're surprised by it. That's sometimes a problem.
You just wanted to go to the state park,
right?
And just have
enjoy
a good time.
the beach or something.
Well,
and
thanks for the text messages, guys. We appreciate it. You can text and say, hey, 877-2-RADIO-U.
We've done you a favor by selecting the best of the worst and compiling it all in one place. Riot Podcast Radio U.
So I looked it up, and, ghost kitchens are such a big thing.
Yeah.
It's where there's not actually a restaurant, but they use another restaurant's services like their kitchen, or they're partnered with someone and they use that kitchen, but there's no like physical place.
Right.
Now, brands are now calling it a virtual brand, like a virtual restaurant.
Yeah.
So like you'll have a big national chain that maybe you don't go to.
Right.
But they create virtual brands of like more modern and more like cooler looking restaurants.
Right.
And you don't realize that they're all still the same one. So lately what I do is last night I was like, I want a DoorDash for dinner.
Yeah.
So when you look at a place, you'll tell like, it's all the cool photos. Hudson was just laughing at like the descriptions and stuff. They make it
they think
really
they're so funny. Yeah.
To hit home and be like, this is the modern eating establishment that I wanted to go
it's
to.
It's local, and it's probably just run by somebody from your neighborhood, and they're funny. They have little quips with their chicken tenders.
They really try to go for that look because then you want to order from them, not from the national chain.
Yeah.
So when I now go look at DoorDash, if it's a ghost kitchen, you can tell because they don't offer a pickup location.
Okay.
You have to have it dashed to you.
Yeah.
You cannot pick it up. When that happens, I then like to investigate to see, well, where is it still coming from? Because you can tell based by, like where its address is.
Right.
So, like the big one everybody's been talking about is Burger Den.
Okay.
It's like, modern, fun, really
I've
cool
definitely
looking
seen
burgers.
that one on there before.
That's Denny's. It's Denny's.
Yeah, and you would have a totally different... You probably wouldn't consider ordering from Denny's
if
it was just Denny's on there.
No offense to Denny's, but if you want a gourmet hamburger, and they come to you looking almost the same.
Right.
Like there's really not a whole lot of difference.
I'm looking at this one that I was laughing at. It's Coop and Run.
And that's what I wanted for dinner.
Right, and it's O'Charlie's.
It's O'Charlie's!
I'm not convinced. Which O'Charlie's is pretty good, though, actually.
But it's the same... And you're like, the sauce and the presentation is different.
Yeah.
You're like, yes, but it's the same. I feel like the same chicken finger.
That's what I was going to say. I'm looking at the menu. I'm fairly sure these are just the O'Charlie's chicken tenders.
Yes.
It's just they have a different name.
Yeah, and they charge
they're presented
more.
different. Yeah. That's the real thing. It's just so they can charge more for it because you're thinking it's local and gourmet or whatever.
I felt so grumpy finding that out that I didn't order because it's like,
I'm totally with you. I'm with you, and I like O'Charlie's. Their chicken tenders are really good, but I'm not going to order from Coop and Run.
I don't like the marketing. Like they're trying to pull one over on us.
How dumb do they think we are?
And then if you do, it's just wings. That's Chili's. That's Chili's wings.
Yeah.
But they try to rebrand and make a virtual brand.
Yeah.
And then you go and DoorDash it. You just don't know that again, nothing's wrong with Chili's, but if they're charging you more.
Right.
Because they make a different logo with it and stuff.
They paid somebody to design all of these different pictures for their food and stuff. It's if you think...
I was so
why
grumpy
isn't
last
your brand
night.
good enough to stand on its own?
I don't know.
No, I'm definitely with you. Because again, I like O'Charlie's, and I'm looking at this website for Coop and Run, which is O'Charlie's, and it really upsets me. It really does. I might be more upset than you, and I haven't been duped yet.
That's how I felt last night. I was like, fine, I had to make my own food. It's like, fine, I'm making my own thing.
Yeah.
Because and you're like, well, again, nothing wrong with the other restaurants, but when they charge you more, and it's still like the bulk of the item is still from someplace else that you would have paid less for.
And it's really just the same food. It's just presented differently. That's really where the problem is. Because like there's the Guy Fieri restaurants. Yeah. He has one out of a Buca di Beppo around here. But he's not making Buca di Beppo, or him. It's not like guys in the kitchen. But, the people at that restaurant aren't making Buca di Beppo food.
That's correct.
It's their own kind of food. They're just sharing the kitchen with them in some way.
Or like, in our area, everybody has the Mr. Beast. They use Bravo in our area.
Yeah.
But it's not the same food from there.
So that is different, even though it is a ghost kitchen. But yeah, it's where this is the same food repackaged to you as if it's a totally different restaurant.
Well, Justin
That's
just
the problem.
texted. He said he agrees. He feels like it's a scam to try to get a new reputation for the same food.
Right. And then they're like, hey, maybe if this Coop and Run takes off, we don't even need O'Charlie's anymore.
Thanks for listening, guys, because it really bothered me last
This is our morning rant.
It really did. I was just like, man, I can't.
Yeah. Now I don't even want chicken fingers. You've ruined it for us.
I just don't like if they're charging people more and the person doesn't realize.
Yeah.
You're like, what is actually going on? And it just feels, you're right, Justin.
And then somebody gets it and is like, hey, this tastes like O'Charlie's.
It is O'Charlie's. I can't talk about it anymore, Hudson. It's very upsetting. And these are the things you're like, this is what upsets you. Yes, it does.
Yes. This is what we found time to bother ourselves with. We need to move on to a happier time.
If you want to text and talk with me about it, you can. You can text me at 877-2-RADIO-U, and then we'll just keep it off air.
I don't know if we want somebody to text in that will just be like, hey, guys.
Bigger problems in the world.
Yeah, take it easy, because that's just going to make us even more mad. It's like, no, you just don't understand.
Listen, I got room for all the problems. This is just the one I was facing yesterday.
Right. When you want your chicken fingers, this is what makes you. This is what you get riled up about.
Giving every novelty food the publicity it so blatantly desires. It's The Riot on RadioU.
This kind of sounds like a prom, but the American Chemical Society Spring 2021 meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't it have that feel like
I'm sure it's very romantic.
A formal event or something like that.
Right.
But from this meeting, there's been details now from Pfizer about a single pill cure for COVID.
Yeah. Can't get too much into the details because I'm not a scientist or a doctor or anything like that.
They're very light on details.
Right. But they are testing it now. I guess it's in phase 1.
Yeah.
And where they are testing this out, and they hope it's possible they'll have it available by the end of the year. And it's literally a single pill. You take it at the first sign of a COVID positive test, I guess, or any symptoms. And it's a single pill cure. It basically, remember we talked about those mosquitoes earlier, how they wouldn't be able to procreate.
Yeah.
Very similar for the coronavirus in your body. It won't be able to redevelop. Yeah.
Well, when I first thought, I was like, oh, it's not the vaccine. You know, like it's nothing to do with that.
Right.
That's still its own separate thing. But this would be if you had COVID and the very first sign that you get it, you go take the test, you get a positive thing. Sometimes if you're sick enough, then you have hospitalization.
Right.
But a lot of times they just send you home and you're just doing whatever.
You're knocked out for a while. You may or may not have a lot of symptoms. But
they would prescribe this to you right away, and that would actually fight the infection without you having to have critical care or go to the hospital.
Yeah, of course, this is just like the first story we're really hearing of it. Mm-hmm. But it sounds really like they think this is what's going to keep people out of the hospitals completely.
Yeah.
Which that's pretty amazing. And then, of course, my mind goes to, I wonder if you're like one of the people that like still can't taste after you got the virus months ago. If you take this pill and you'd finally be able to taste again.
Oh, because they say if you had COVID and you still have COVID symptoms that last longer than, for everybody else and you're not still contagious.
Right.
You are, if you get vaccinated, that might help with some of those symptoms, but I don't know if this works the same way. I'm not sure.
That'd be interesting to find out. Of course, that's what I care about. Even though I'm already vaccinated, so I should hopefully not have to worry about any of it, but of course we'll see.
But for this pill, this would be if you did get COVID, you could at least take something right away to start feeling better, or it would be a cure for it.
Yeah.
And then my question always goes to is it a cure forever? Or then if you get it again, do you just always have to take this if you get it?
Yeah, but that feels like a positive sign in a way, like more positive than a vaccine. If this really is just like you take the pill and you're done.
The worst podcast with the best listeners. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Coming up, May 3rd, 7:30 Eastern. Make sure you have your ESPN Plus subscription so that you can not only watch the Warriors and Pelicans in the NBA, but you can watch the Marvel-inspired NBA telecast.
This seems really weird. I guess I understand a little better. At first, I thought when they said it's the first ever Marvel-inspired alternate NBA game.
Yeah.
I thought they were doing like a video game.
Right. I kind of thought the same thing.
But it's not. It's during the actual telecast of the NBA game that ESPN is providing a Marvel storyline with 3D characters and animation that'll be a part of the game somehow.
Yeah, it's going to be basically just a different presentation. The basketball game, it's not like the players are going to be doing anything differently, but all of the graphics and all of the stuff that the way they present the game, they're going to try to make it seem like a Marvel Avengers comic book type situation.
You might not have the answer to this, but here's like the main question that I have.
Yeah.
So is this game going on live at the same time, or is it just the game already happened?
No, I think this is a live. This is going to be the live presentation of it.
And you can see the game like normal.
Right.
But then you can also watch this.
I think they're going to have different streams of it, because that's kind of a popular thing to do for, especially like for some of their big, like Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Or I think Amazon, when they did Thursday Night Football, would have like 4 different versions of the commentary that you could watch and stuff like that.
I didn't know that.
And different like camera views I think they would allow you to use. So ESPN's doing that as well with this. I'm assuming that there's going to be this Marvel-inspired one, and then just if you really just want to watch the game the old-fashioned way, they'll let you do that as well. But it will be a live game actually going on. And I don't know, reading about it, it feels comical.
I know. I just think I have to see it in order to really understand it, which makes me feel like dumb.
I don't know. I feel like are we the dumb ones,
or is this just a dumb idea?
It's a dumb idea, and
it could be a little of both.
And I know that we all love Marvel and the Marvel movies and whatever, but it doesn't feel like kind of very, very late to be doing Why wouldn't you do this around the time of Endgame or
remember
something
this,
like that?
though. ESPN owns, Disney owns ESPN.
Right.
And Disney owns Marvel. So they're all the same property. So basically, it'll have a Marvel storyline with Iron Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Black Widow, and Doctor Strange. 3 players from each team will have active roles in the event. So they'll do something with it, and they'll win Marvel hero points for their performance in the game.
And doesn't that just sound ridiculous?
And then the winning team will be named Marvel's first champion, and points can be both won and deducted based on the performance during the event. So, it is going on live.
Yeah, that just, what? I don't know.
Is there to see how it is.
I guess the thinking is maybe some Marvel fans would tune in for this that wouldn't normally tune in for the NBA. And they're gonna be really into this, but I feel like those are the type of people that are so obsessed with Marvel. Maybe they're just gonna be like, "Well, this isn't what the comic books are like."
Where do you go when you need someone to listen to your problems and give you a big hug? Not here, obviously. This is the Riot on RadioU.
The results are in.
Who wants to talk about census stuff?
Yeah,
Yay!
census! And the government is even telling us to talk about it, and we're just doing it anyways.
I actually thought some of it was interesting because I didn't realize that when they do these census stuff, like they actually use the stuff for anything. I didn't know that.
Why did you think they did it?
I don't know. Just to bother people.
Oh, yeah.
Every so many years,
to keep tabs.
Check in on everybody, that sort of thing.
Did you fill out the census whenever it was?
I did online because they're always like, you have to, even though I don't. Yeah. I mean, you're supposed to, but.
Right. They really make it
threatening.
Yeah, in a way. And I don't know. I know I definitely did it.
Well, I guess I didn't realize.
I remember all the ads. They were really pushing it.
Yeah, they did. Well, the problem was with COVID and stuff that, they were doing the census stuff, and then the delays came afterwards when the data gathering side of it. But they released the decennial count today.
They do it every 10 years.
Yes.
Let's just say that.
And that's used for the 435 House seats. So I actually thought some of this was interesting.
Yeah.
So based on the population for the states, and that is what they use the data for. So gaining seats in the House, Texas, Florida, Colorado, Montana, North Carolina, and Oregon.
Okay.
Losing seats, California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia.
Yeah.
Alabama and Rhode Island didn't lose a district or anything. Republicans have an advantage in governorships and redistricting stuff. And then they said the total U.S. population over 331 million.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the Republicans have the advantage as far as when these states, right, the governors get to decide how the new districts get incorporated and whatever.
Yep.
And probably how a lot of the I guess the districts that get taken away, how they do all that.
So they say the biggest interruption to that would be New York and California. With just being so massive with them losing seats, they say that was a blow to them.
Yeah. So this is the main thing that's going to come out of the census is now the congressional district. So I guess maybe if you didn't, I don't know, if you're going to get mad about politics and then you didn't fill out the census, they say that if
was it the New York one that was so close?
Yeah, New York. If they had 89 more people in the state, they would have gotten they would have broken even, I guess.
Really.
So they had 89 people short, and 89 people maybe moved out of New York to Florida, and that's what caused the shift.
They say Texas gained more population than any other state with a gain of nearly 4 million people.
Wow.
So that was interesting to read too.
Yeah, but back to what started to say and then got interrupted by myself is that
Did you interrupt yourself?
I kind of did. Is that it, like, if you didn't fill out the census and now it's like, man, we're losing a congressional district. Well, it was kind of your fault. You should have filled it out.
Well, that's good to share, Hudson.
Yeah.
This was the worst of the riot, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.